Hello students. Yesterday we have discussed about the cell, its properties and the rest of the topic about the chapter that was very important like potentiometer and such kind of topics we have discussed. So today student we will discuss some extra topics that is given in your chapter and that are actually some small raw materials, some small tools that we are using in our electronic devices and that are very important things for to design our circuits at several places. So let's see them. First thing here that we will discuss today, that is non-ohmic conductor. Second thing, thermistor. Third is superconductor. These all three things are very important to study about the electronic devices, to study about the things that or to design any circuit and where we can utilize them. So let's discuss that. You will see that they are really very useful in our all of the fields that we are using today. So first thing here, that is non-ohmic conductor. So before the going to the word non-ohmic, as previously we have discussed about the Ohm's law. So for the Ohm's law we have a relationship V is directly proportional to I, or if we will take the slope of VI curve. So if you will see V and I curve, so this curve is just like this is I, this is V have, and this curve is just obtained this like, and if you will take the slope of this one, then this is a constant quantity. So this is called the resistance of the device or the wire in which we are measuring the potential with the change in current here. Clear? So this is our Ohm's law, and here the devices or the conductors materials that are obeying this law, they that are called ohmic conductors. Means if for that conductor you will plot VI characteristic, and in that characteristic if you will calculate V upon I, means slope at any point, then that slope, if it is giving you constant value, this value is constant, it means that that is called the ohmic conductor. And non-ohmic conductor, or here one more thing in this same topic we will discuss about the limitation of Ohm's law. So somewhere Ohm's law doesn't follow, means somewhere this curve, this characteristic between V and I, this is not the straight line, this is not linear, and this is varying. So you can see that where the curve between or characteristic of VI characteristic is not straight, not linear, that kind of conductors, that kind of materials are known as non-ohmic conductors. Clear? So simple. One more thing just you have to keep in your mind, where simple thing, Ohm's law followed everywhere, but Ohm's law failed when this V by I is equal to R, this constant is not we are not obtaining constant value everywhere, then that's that time Ohm's law failed there. So sometimes we are obtaining V by R is equal to this value as the variable value, means the slope of VI characteristic that is changing at every point, that is varying, then that time the conductor is known as non-ohmic conductor. So it is very easy to categorize the ohmic and non-ohmic conductor, and where Ohm's law failed. So Ohm's law failed where whenever we are getting non-linear curve, we are getting some kind of characteristic between V and I for which V by I is a variable quantity. So or you can categorize conductors in two classes, that is ohmic conductor and non-ohmic conductor. So ohmic conductors are those for which V by I, that is a constant value, and non-ohmic are those for which V by I is a variable value at every point. So examples of ohmic conductors, like we know that metals and conductors, that are all the examples of ohmic conductor, because Ohm's law is followed there every point. But when we will talk about the semiconductor devices, and in case of semiconductor, like if you will talk about the semiconductor diode, transistor, solar cell, LED, all these devices, photodiode, then if you will see the graph or the characteristic VI characteristic of all these kind of devices, then that time that are not linear. Even for the semiconductor diode, if you will draw the VI characteristics, then there are two types of biasing we are getting. Later you will study that. So its graph is obtained sometimes this way. So here you are seeing that this is not linear graph, this is curve type graph we are getting. So it means that this is not the follow of Ohm's law. So this is also a non-ohmic conductor, semiconductor diode. Second example, like if we are taking the another example for which suppose we are just obtaining our VI characteristic in this form. So for this form also you are seeing that somewhere this up to this point it is ohmic, but after that the voltage started to decrease with increase in current, but this is the violation of Ohm's law. So here Ohm's law doesn't follow, but later you will see at this point Ohm's law is followed here. So simple thing is that whenever you are getting some different kind of curve, or you are getting V by I value as a variable, not constant, and that time obviously it is non-ohmic conductor. So actually ohmic and non-ohmic conductor helps us to understand the characteristics of the different kind of conductors that we have. So I think that is now clear, student. Then let's discuss the second thing. In the second concept, that is thermistor. So what is thermistor? Let's discuss that. So before discussing the thermistor, as we have discussed before, ordinary resistors or standard resistors. So where we have discussed the effect of temperature on resistance, there I have just told you we are using certain type of alloys to make a standard resistor, like manganese, constantan, eureka, such kind of alloys we are using. Reason is that their temperature coefficient of resistance is very small, means there is very for a very small change in temperature, there is very small change in resistance, means there you can say that their resistance is almost independent of the temperature. Means if temperature is changing, there is not the very appreciable change in resistance we are seeing there. And secondary thing is there, its resistance is very high, means we are getting several values of the resistance over there. Next thing here about the thermistors, if you will discuss that this is just opposite as the standard resistor. So thermistors are those kind of resistors or devices, you can say that of whose resistivity, not resistance I'm talking, whose resistivity increases or decreases, simple, whose resistivity changes very rapidly with change in temperature. Means if there is very minute change in temperature, even for that its resistivity will vary. So this kind of resistors are known as thermistors. Means they are depending on heat, they are depending on thermal energy, and if anywhere thermal energy will be supplied or there will be change in temperature occur, then that time its resistivity will change very rapidly. Even you can just think it is changing even at 10 power minus 3 degrees Celsius change, means 0.001 degrees Celsius. If that kind of change in temperature occur, even for that temperature changing, its resistivity changes very rapidly. So it means that where we can utilize such kind of resistors, so these kind of resistors are we are utilized where we have to detect the small change in temperature. Means if we will use this kind of resistor or thermistor, you can say that if we are using thermistors anywhere, then if there is a small change in temperature occur, then obviously its resistivity will change very rapidly, because it is depending on the temperature completely there. And for the small change I have just told you, its resistivity changes very rapidly. So it means that we can detect by the help of the change in resistivity, we can detect there is the change in temperature also. Even we can measure the temperature also by seeing the dependency of the resistivity and temperature. As I told you yesterday this topic, we can measure the change in temperature by using this formula there. So dt you can measure by knowing the resistivity at 0 degrees Celsius and at different temperatures. So by using that you can even see how the temperature is changing there. Here one more thing, the property of thermistor. First of all, before talking about the property, here how we are making it. So we are making, or we are preparing such kind of thermistors by using oxides of some metals, like we are using nickel, we are using cobalt, iron, such kind of metals, and their metals oxides we are using to prepare such kind of thermistors. And their oxides show this kind of behavior, means their resistivity changing very rapidly with changing temperature there. Clear? Second factor here is that to after making the oxide layer, we are using a pair of platinum plates to give a contact to it, or metallic contact you can say that, or conducting behavior to it. And after that we are covering it in a glass sheet. So simple, this is the basic construction of the thermistors. And if you will talk about the properties of thermistor, then in the properties of thermistor, first thing is that here alpha, the temperature coefficient of resistivity, that is very high. In the case of ordinary resistors, it is very low, because there is, for a small even change in temperature, there is very small change in resistance. And alpha we have defined, if in terms of resistance if we will talk, then it is RT minus 0 divided by R0 sum T. Or in terms of resistivity you can also write it. So in the terms of resistivity, it is obtained just like this, dt. So this is in terms of resistivity, this is in terms of resistance. So simple, alpha here you can see that for the case of standard resistor if we will talk. So in the case of standard resistor, for the a small or change in temperature, this change is very small, means alpha is very small there. But for the thermistors, if you will see alpha, so for very small change in temperature, there is very rapid change, very large change we are seeing for this value, means alpha is very high even for the small change. So this is the first property of the thermistor, that is very important property. Second property means if you have to just make the thermistor and you are making any oxide, then first you can check its temperature coefficient of resistivity, and if it is very high, then you can use it now. Second thing, alpha can be negative or positive both here. Why? Because here we are using only change in resistivity with temperature. So change can increase or decrease, both possibilities are here. So there is not any case, mandatory cases that here should be the there should be the increase in resistivity only, but there can be also decrease in resistivity. Only the thing is that with change in temperature, how the resistivity is changing. So if whether it is negative or positive, increasing or decreasing, only it is showing the change, then it can be positive or negative both. Means we can use any kind of oxides or material to make thermistors which are showing great change in resistivity with change in temperature. So I think student thinks about the thermistor first, that is clear. What is its construction, what is the property of thermistor, how it is different from the ordinary resistor. Three things I have just discussed in the case of thermistors. Next here, where we are using this kind of devices. So thermistors we are using originally or normally, first though I just told you, we are using it to detect any kind of change in temperature or to measure the temperature. Second thing, as its resistivity is changing very rapidly with temperature, then it is used to control the voltage and current in the circuit. So we are using it thermistors in picture tubes, in television, to control the current that is flowing in that picture tube by using this whenever the current is increasing there. Second thing, we are using such kind of resistors or in remote sensing device, we are using to voltage control device here. Sometimes in industries we are using, where we have to control the temperature, we have to know where how the temperature is changing and whether it is there is change in temperature or we need cooling device or not. So you can just imagine how important this device is, and it is very small in size or shape. Simple, this small device, and this is very easy to even fabricate, but This is really very important device. That's why I have taken you today only these kind of devices that are really very important for our electronic circuits or devices or instruments that we are using in our daily life. So student, I think that is also clear. Next, third factor here that we have to discuss, this is superconductor. So superconductors are those kind of conductors in which their behavior of resistance with temperature that is different from the metallic conductor. So if you will see the graph between the resistance and temperature, so suppose here we have taken temperature, just take the temperature on this side, this is temperature, this is our resistance. So normally if you will decrease the temperature of the conductor, then that time its resistance also decreases and ultimately it becomes zero at absolute zero temperature. So normally at absolute zero temperature all the activity of the system that ceases, no of the electrons are moving, they are not colliding, they are adjusted in the system, vibrations are very small. You can say that sometimes their velocity is zero, kinetic energy is zero. This is the property of material at absolute zero temperature. So obviously there is no resistance, so resistance is zero. This is for the ordinary conductors or metals that we have. But we have seen that certain conductors behave differently than other conductors. Means if we will start to decrease their temperature, then when they will reach to a certain temperature, suppose this temperature, their resistance suddenly becomes zero. Means they are losing their resistive properties suddenly at a certain temperature. So that temperature is known as critical temperature or transition temperature for that conductor, and such kind of conductors are known as superconductor. So superconductors are showing a different kind of property at some different temperature, means they are losing their resistive property at this kind of temperature there. So and even we can convert so many conductors in the superconductor also, but we have to keep first the knowledge of their transition temperature. Like mercury shows the superconductor behavior at some 4.7 Kelvin temperature. So when it reaches to that temperature or below that temperature, then its resistance becomes zero suddenly. Means now it will not oppose any kind of or it will not impose, you can that any kind of opposition in the path of current flow. So simple thing is that after that temperature, if current is flowing in such kind of conductors, then that current will flow without any resistance. There is no collision between now electrons. Now as resistance is not, then obviously you can simply think that they are very not disciplined way, they are in that way they are moving, they are very disciplined to follow each other. So here is different property of electrons we are seeing. Now as in other conductors, electron are showing independent behavior, they are just showing gas like behavior, they are getting temperature or thermal energy, they are increasing their kinetic energy, they are colliding with each other. So that time they are independent to each other, they are colliding, they are blocking each other path, they are offering resistance there. But for the superconductor case, below this temperature or at this temperature, as the resistance becomes zero, it means that the electrons are now no longer independent, they becomes actually dependent. So due to their dependency, they started to follow the one's other path. So it means you can say that if you are making any coil of superconductor and if electron is flowing, then one electron it will follow each other path. Means if current will start to flow in such kind of devices, then means, or simply if you will use battery and you will just use to give some additional energy to some of the electrons, then that electron will transfer very orderly, very disciplined way their energy to another electron by the help of vibration. So as they are not colliding, they are not now no longer dependent. So that's why they follow each other path. And even you will remove the battery now, like you are charging your mobile and now you remove your charger, then obviously in your mobile the battery will start to send the current to certain some of the equipment, so that you are using your mobile for the several hours. So if it is made up of the superconductor, then that time, due to orderly arrangement of the electron, due to orderly movement, due to dependent movement, due to zero resistance, now this current start to flow for the several week without any change. I means simply, if we will be able to make the batteries by using superconductor material sometimes, then if we will charge our mobile for one time, then its battery will last after 1 week, 2 week. So this will be really a innovation in our electronic field, if we will be able to use such kind of devices to make our batteries after that. Even scientists are working on this thing also, but this is really very important property. So this is the electrical behavior of the superconductor. First means current can flow without any resistance for the several week, without any problem, without any you can say that blocking, without any opposition, without any resistance. Clear? Second property such kind of materials have, superconductors are showing a different behavior to magnetic field also. So here magnetism you haven't studied yet, but still I am just going to tell you, just like you have studied about the electric field for the case of charged particles, and in that way we have magnets, and for that we are getting magnetic field. Later in chapter we will discuss also. So here, if we will put this kind of superconductor material in magnetic field, then we have seen that the magnetic field lines that are showing the magnetic property, they started to just flow in such a way. Means magnetic field lines, they cannot enter in the superconductor material. Means if that kind of material is at or below the transition temperature, then if we will put it in magnetic field, then magnetic field line inside the conductor becomes zero. No of the magnetic field present inside the conductor. So simple, you can say that B is equal to 0 inside the superconducting material. So we can also keep it safe from the magnetic field, and we are using this kind of property at several places. That's like in our this time we are using it to make the supercomputers, very fast moving computers. That's processing is very fast, you know already supercomputers. So we are working day by day on that. How can we improve the speed? Here, why you can improve the speed? Because you are seeing the electrical property here. There is resistance, that is 0, magnetic field is 0 inside here, means there is no loss of energy. So whenever we will use some kind of energy from the outside, obviously that all energy we can utilize by using such kind of materials. So that's why superconductors are really very useful material for our life, and even we are using it also in our electronic field, in our computer field. In so many fields we are using, and I am telling you already, there is also one aspect for your mobile batteries, that if we will use such kind of material to make batteries, then obviously our mobile will last after one time charging. We can use simply it for for 1 week, 2 week, you can say that 15 days you can easily just use it without any problem. On continuous use you can use it. So you can understand that how important these devices for us now. So now, as I think superconductors are also clear to you, where we are using and what kind of properties they have. So basically today I was I wanted to tell you these informations about the devices that we are using by using conductors and by using their properties and their dependence on temperature. So that's why I have just taken these topics. So one more topic, that here if we are talking about the temperature here and their dependence, then that is the topic of Joule's heating. So you know that already, the heating effect of the current. So this topic you have studied in your 10th class, but still let's discuss it one more time. So when you have seen that whenever current is flowing through any kind of conductor, then that conductor heated after some time of use. Like if you are continually using your mobile, then you are feeling that mobile is getting heated, and thermal energy you are feeling there. So it means that some of the electrical energy is converting into thermal energy in there. So this is called the heating effect of current, or Joule detected it first, that's why it is known as Joule's heating. So if you will see this heat in on which factor it is depending on. So first it is depending on temperature in this way, means it is depending on the square of the temperature. Second thing, as you know that heat is also produced whenever there is change in resistance. Just now I have just discussed it. So it is depending on resistance. One more thing, if you are continually using your device for the long time, like if you are using your mobile for the long time, that time you are seeing heating effect here. So on these three factors, this heat that is generated in device, it is depending on basically. So if you will remove it, it is also in the same way. So this is in Joule, and if you will write it in calories, then it is I square RT upon 4.2 calories. So this is the two units of the heat energy, you know already, Joule and calorie. So you can change it by this, and you can calculate what is the heat produced in your device whenever what this value of current, resistance, and for this time if you are using your devices. Clear, I think. And now let's see what is the cause of actually this kind of Joule heating. So the basic cause of Joule heating is that when the current flowing in the circuit, that is increasing, suppose. So due to increase in current, obviously the speed of the electrons that will increase. We have studied about the drift velocity and the relationship between current and drift velocity, and there you have seen that I is equal to NEABD. So if I is increasing, then obviously this value is also increasing. So if drift velocity is increasing, it means that electron is moving faster. Now its kinetic energy is increasing, and whenever kinetic energy is increased, then you know that obviously there are two methods through which I can just make you understand. First thing, as the electron is behaving like the gas, then obviously it is following kinetic theory of the gases, and according to that, kinetic theory is depending on the temperature in this way. So it means that kinetic energy is increasing, it means temperature is increasing there, and temperature is increasing means thermal vibrations that will increase in the system, and due to the increment in thermal vibration, obviously thermal energy is produced, and the system become heated. In second option, if you want to understand it, whenever this Vd changing very means velocity is increasing, kinetic energy is increasing, vibration will increase, and due to increased vibration, electrons will collide more frequently. Due to that, resistance of the system will increase, and also as you know that due to increase in resistance, temperature of the conductor that will also increase. So there also you can understand the temperature is increasing, thermal energy is increasing, means device will get heat there. So this is the basic cause. The thermal vibrations are creating due to the change in current in the circuit, and that's why we are getting the Joule heating effect or heating effect of the current in our devices. So about the, I think ohmic conductor, thermistor and superconductor, everything is clear. About the Joule heating, it is clear. So I just taken I have taken these kind of topics here to make you understand in raw materials what kind of things we are using. So basically to design any circuits, a number of things we are using, we are using transformers, we are using resistor, capacitor, inductor, and here such kind of thermistors we are using, fuse we are using. So one more topic that we have, that is fuse. So fuse is such kind of devices that we are using in our home for to save our whole of the main circuit, and it is made up of the mixture of tin and lead, where 63% tin we are using, and tin we are using, and also 37% lead we are using here to make the fuse wire. So the property of fuse wire is that its melting point is very low, its resistivity is very high. So as its resistivity is very high, whenever the current in the circuit or voltage in the circuit that is increasing suddenly, so due to that increment its resistivity changes, and due to change in resistance, obviously temperature will change there, and as its melting point is very low, that's why it melt easily, and due to its melting the circuit is you can say that circuit broke there, and due to breakage of the circuit, due to breaking of the circuit, simply the circuit is incomplete and current stop to flow in our other appliance. So we can save the appliance by using this kind of fuse wires. So students, up to now in this chapter, a very large amount of topics, you can say that small topics we have discussed. Like we have started our current electricity chapter by the definition of current. After that, conventional current we have seen, that electronic current we have seen, later resistance, Ohm's law, and on the factor where on which resistance is depending on, or resistivity, conductivity, conductance, all these things we have seen. Current density, and later drift velocity, and how we can verify Ohm's law using that. So all these things we have discussed. After that, we have discussed Kirchhoff's law and its application in practical application, like Wheatstone bridge we have seen, and after the Wheatstone bridge, its practical application we have seen in the meter bridge, and later for the cell, its combinations we have seen, and its grouping we have seen, and where we are using it, like in potentiometer we are using to measure the EMF or internal resistance of cell. So number of topics we have discussed here in this chapter. So you have to prepare a lot for here for this chapter, because this is really very basic chapter to understand the electricity here. So just prepare for this chapter. Today this chapter ends here. In next class we will start the new chapter, that is moving charges and magnetism. So let's just end the class here and the chapter here. So all the best and thank you guys.